What's up, Game Day? I'm Barry Basketball.
And I'm Susie Spirit.
And we are here to talk about what your child athlete has been learning this week in their devotional.
Your child athlete learned about the Outer Space Treaty and how 110 nations have signed this treaty to protect the moon. But this isn't a strong treaty. These nations can sign a letter and break their promise whenever they want.
The reason we talked about this is because how those nations can break their promise whenever they want to. God never breaks his promises. He's made a lot and some pretty crazy promises, and he has never and will never break any of those promises. And that is what your child athlete has been learning in devotions this week.
We'll see you next week.
What's up, Game Day? Hi, parents and family. I'm Pastor Brad. I'm lead pastor of family ministries here at Grace Church. And as we think about our children, the joys and the intentionality that we have in working with them, I often think about all of the things I want to teach my children, things I want to teach my boys. I have 4 boys, and I go back and think, what did I teach them? What didn't I teach them? And all those things. But one thing that I've learned in parenting is this idea that a lot of the best lessons that they've learned from me were never things I communicated to them directly, but they were experiences we had where they ended up catching what we were talking about or learning things by being around me or being in the right environments with me and my wife or a circumstance that came up. So as I think about being an intentional parent, I have to remember that as their teacher, as their leader, as their dad, a lot of the better lessons are not only taught, but they're caught. And so as I think about a resource that's helpful for me, and maybe you've heard of it as we talked about before, the Parent Q app that we use here at our church that you can download. What's cool about that app is in there are a lot of good questions that make an opportunity for me to be intentional with my children. But one resource that's really helpful for me is it showed me ways in which I can use drive time with the kids, meal times, where there are times where we're already doing things together, but making them be more intentional as well. So they only have those experiences where they're walking with me and they're watching how I interact at the grocery store or as I drive my car are all wonderful. And those are things where they're catching, they're seeing my reactions, seeing and learning things that maybe they're not even thinking about. But a thing that's really helpful is by asking good questions and taking hold of some of those moments that you see even on that app. It's helpful for me. It says, here's how I can make the best advantage of a time, one of the rare times we're all dinner together around the table, or the times where we're in the car together coming back from a practice or something like that. So I'd encourage you, be an intentional parent, but remember, they're always watching you. And that's good and bad at times, but don't worry and take it easy on yourself because you're teaching them a lot more than you think you are. You know, at times you think, boy, I've got to tell them all these things. A lot of them they're already learning. Just keep doing what you're doing and being faithful with it, but be that intentional parent who's letting their child not only hear what they're teaching them, but catch it as well. So things like that app would be really helpful. I'd encourage you to check it out and maybe be beneficial for your time with your children.
What's up, Game Day? Hope you're having an excellent Saturday. I'm here today with Jason to talk a little bit about his Game Day volunteer experience. So Jason, thanks for joining me.
Of course.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
First question, what do you do here at Game Day, or maybe what have you been doing at Game Day through the years?
So I work with the referees. I've been refereeing for, this will be my 7th year now. It's an awesome experience. Yeah. Really cool.
Cool. So how did you actually get connected then? 7 years, that's a long time. How did you get connected to Game Day then?
So I was coming out of a very difficult time in my life. I was looking for different ways to serve. I was on the First Impressions team for several years, and I played basketball my whole life. I really love working with kids, and I saw a video one day about Game Day. I didn't have children at the time, but we were expecting. So I was just trying to get plugged in and thought it would be a good fit and took the first step to do so, and awesome. Worked out well.
Great. So 7 years, how has it changed you?
I think it's changed me. I'd say the biggest way that it's changed me is being able to get plugged into Grace Church, our church family more. It's afforded me to get around other men and women of faith, get plugged into some small groups, and just to be around some like-minded people that have a strong faith and belief in Christ and what he does for us. It's also allowed me to provide a certain amount of leadership and mentorship, but it's also given me the ability to be led and to be mentored by some other folks. So it's been pretty awesome. I'd say when the season comes, it's probably the highlight of my week to actually to go and serve at Game Day. It's pretty cool experience.
Well, if there's one thing you want to tell the people in the crowd about Game Day, what would you tell them?
It takes a lot of us to do it. All of us that are there love to be there, and we actually care about each and every person that comes through the doors. The games are fun, the cheerleading's fun, the competition and everything is fun, but that's not the point. The point is, getting together and sharing the light of Christ for everybody. Because you could play AAU, you could do a lot of other things. There's plenty of options, but we feel like this is a really cool, good time. The kids love it with all the lights and everything, but at the end of the day, all of us that are there are really there to provide, an experience of love. So at the end of the day, that's kind of what it is.
It is. So, well, thank you very much. Jason, thanks for being here. Thanks to all you guys, and we'll see you next week.